So, one of my favorite readers said something that rubbed me the wrong way. And it only rubbed me the wrong way because I know better. They said something about if someone came back in physical form and said they are the Messiah, it's the devil. And that hurt my feelings because I did that. And I gave clarification and clarity about how and all that. But I don't give a fuck. You know, at the end of the day, I just made an Instagram post. Just because you don't believe something does not mean, or if you don't agree with something, does not mean it's not true. Aliens and stuff like that are now starting to be mainstream because they came out and said they exist. People did not believe aliens existed until someone told them that. Or, say, for instance, they didn't agree that aliens existed, and now it's being disclosed that aliens do exist. When will people understand that in every lie is a hint of truth, and in every truth there's a hint of a lie? You can't say something indefinite unless you could literally say it full circle with understanding. Like, I don't even like to piggyback off of other people's information for referral without giving clarity on what they're saying. Like, I can't even give an example. It's like when my gift activates, when I hear the truth, I'm able to tell you exactly what God is saying when something is being said. And then it makes sense. Oh, okay, that's what they're saying, and it bothers me that people don't see like how I see. Because then I have to be the one who's patient and understanding to, hey, Lewis, to actually get the point across. Hello. And I don't always use cards. I show people how to accurately read cards because there's a lot of karmic readers here who learned how to read cards from a book. But that's what you would consider like a karmic reader, you know, because they haven't done the shadow work. And when you do shadow work, the gift of revelation opens up. When all of the contradictions inside of yourself have been corrected, in a sense, because you have to find balance in order to get to the frequency level of heaven. You know, even though one of my favorite readers said what they said, I understood the wisdom behind that because after a while of telling people, oh, I'm Jesus, second coming, and how I called judgment when I turned 30 on the wickedness of this world, which is really just the confusion. The truth started coming out about a whole lot of things. Reality literally bent to where I was in my life. When people give readings, it's like I adapt and resonate with the aspects of what they're saying through my Holy Spirit, not my flesh. Because, one of the main things that I like to point out is energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transformed, right? So if energy can't be destroyed, it answers a lot of questions about all of these different ideas, okay? Because people, places, things, and ideas basically encompass everything, all things at once simultaneously. Because if you don't think to walk, you're not going to walk. If you do not think to build a place or give a place a title, which is an idea because it was an idea before it was a thing physical. Understand that idea came from heaven. Okay. Creativity comes from the frequency of heaven, and you cannot separate ideas from the physical that it came from, or vice versa, should I say, because everything happens from an idea and then it comes down into the physical, which is where um telekinesis is involved. A lot of people think physically telekinesis is the only thing that really um gets pulled when you use telekinesis or energy bending. No, you pull from the spirit, you pull from heaven, and then it manifests. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added. That's what that means. Find the gate to creativity, and then everything will be added. If you're distracted, you're not creating anything because you're focusing your energy, your ideas on other things that already came with its own energy. And when you burn out your energy and you're not no longer connected through the umbilical cord of Christ consciousness, then it's just like you lose that passion, that drive for life. Because now you're operating on other people's energy because this is where you spent it. You put yourself and you connected yourself on a low vibration. Take what resonates on that and leave what don't. Because people are at their own levels of understandings. And when I speak, I notice that if one person give me, another person won't, because they need more deeper, in-depth clarity with the level of understanding that they're at. You would consider the spiritual ranks like high school. There's freshmen and then there's seniors, or college, higher education. There's sophomores, freshmen, graduates. That's an ascended master. I am a hermaphrodite. The only thing that is real is God in this very earth. Exactly. Because everything and all things God. There's this one show, I think it's American Gods or something like that, with Thoth or one of the Marvel shows or something. And there's an episode where Thoth had like a whole lot of thoughts inside of a library. And then they all went back into one Thoth. Okay. Idea. It was the idea of that created a lot of these things that we see today. Okay, the awareness of self came into fruition, and then after that, it had ideas of externalizing the things inside of its awareness. Okay, just like a cell. Okay, cells divide without having to fuck. Get it? You think of it like shadow clone jutsu. Okay, um, is another way of looking at it. And you start with a fresh understanding of who you are in your awareness as you grow into your soul consciousness. Okay. It's so deep understanding the reality of what's actually going on in the spiritual realm, and no hate at all. Thank you. I do appreciate that. And it bothers me because, not you, I'm back to my topic. It bothers me because when the blind leads the blind, it's like artificial intelligence. You're only doing what you're programmed to do. You know, you see how somebody else acts and then you just acting like them or being like them, as opposed to really knowing why they're that way. Why do you think the way that you think? Why do you do the things that you do? What happen in your life to give you that understanding? You know, those are the questions that you have to ask your Holy Spirit, because your Holy Spirit gonna answer it for you. Like a lot of the things that real readers, understand and know and see, it's like because they experience it on a different level, you know, and you know, in their life though, not just like on a different level, like all these people said the same thing and they're going to just agree with it because everybody else said it. They experienced something in their life where it was like, damn, I went through something similar to that. And that's exactly where my mindset was at that time. And then they asked more questions, the right questions, and then the answers revealed itself to them because when you're connected to the all, God reveals truth to you. Like the truth, literally, I don't even care about the truth anymore from other people. Because when I was a kid, I literally was abandoned by my family, waiting on the truth of why. The truth revealed itself to me. And then you know what happened? As God revealed the truth, God also physically made the truth be known, clear. That's why I don't be worried about if a bitch lies to me. That's why my discernment is on par because I've experienced and paid attention to when I thought the way I thought it and then how it played out, paying attention to the patterns. A lot of people don't pay attention, but they'll pay a bitch to fuck. They'll pay for food that's no good for them. They'll pay for drugs that will kill them slowly, escaping reality, but they don't want to pay attention to the Holy Spirit. And blaspheme against the Holy Spirit is the only unforgivable sin. Why is that? Because there's no relationship. And if the Holy Spirit dwells within your vessel, because everyone has one, then you have no real relationship with God. Silly. If you can't talk to your Holy Spirit and know that your Holy Spirit is not you awarely, because God is not separate from us. And God is in everything and all things, so you could talk to yourself through others because we're all emanations of the same body, just like Osmosis Jones. We have to fight together in order to save the motherfucker who ate the egg. But motherfuckers want to separate because of religions and beliefs. All roads lead back to the same destination, regardless to if you understand it, believe it, or agree with it or not. That's why you get humbled by God. Because, bitch, if it's a dead end, it's a dead end. You gotta turn around. Thank you. You know, I never had the life where I was just getting spoiled by people. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I never, genuinely from my heart, I never was spoiled. When I first got started working, I was still in high school, and my foster mom, she told me even when it's raining, she said, I don't have to do anything but stay black and die. And I understood that because you don't. You're not my mama. You weren't the one who brought me here. You're not my daddy. You're not the one who brought me here. So you really don't. Nobody have to do anything for you. You get it? And because I didn't have anyone to depend on other than the Holy Spirit, I don't like ask for help. But if there's a will, there's a way. You get it? And as the things that I wanted to come into fruition from idea, from thought, I actually was able to pay attention and observe through experimentation, the independent variable being me, and the dependent variable being the external, because I understood that I, in here, how I see, molded my reality. Okay? From a lot of these readers, I really wish I was on a platform where I could just show people, because I'm not really tech savvy and I'm not gonna go that far. I promise you. If I did have people around that were able to help me basically show people exactly what I mean. It will give people a better understanding of what is really being done inside of the spirit and what dimensions really are and where things actually come from and how you're supposed to understand what it is that you're being told with your physical ears. Okay? Because even a lot of these prophets are confused. They sound so matter of fact, because they lean on their own understanding. Mind you, everything I say and do, it came from either life experience or externally God speaking loud enough for everyone to see and hear it. Okay. And that's what separates me from a lot of people. I show you God talking for yourself because God speaks for God's self, you know. And I can also speak as a mouthpiece for God. That's why I don't like when people start speaking and saying shit and they're not given authority to say certain shit because they spreading confusion in a way that makes it harder for the understanding to be met. It's bringing you farther away from God in a sense of separation. You're separating the thing that God is actually saying from what you're actually allowing your ego to receive or perceive as truth. Because everything has truth in it, even a lie. Everything. So that's why discernment is so important. You have to train your discernment and trust your Holy Spirit. Because if you don't, you're not getting the truth. I listen to everybody. That's why in the Bible it says, call no man foolish. You know? I listen to everybody and I hear the truth and what the Holy Spirit inside of that vessel is trying to get across to me the best way that it can. Ancestors aren't nothing but Holy Spirits from their awareness and understanding and perceptive of life when they walk the earth. Deified entities and demigods and spirits like Orishas and all that, they were all human that reached gnosis. They didn't just come from nowhere. Okay, that was their awareness and how they lived their life with their Holy Spirit, and they gained the understanding from where they chose with free will up to that point. That's why they're specialized in different things like love and war and lightning and all those different things. Because as closely connected to God we are is in everything, that means that what God can control you can control with that relationship that you have built with your Holy Spirit. People didn't believe that I could control the weather until I showed them. They didn't believe that time literally has, look, like right now, it's 4:31 with 31% on my phone. Right. Chronokinesis. You get it? I just took a screenshot just so I could show people what gnosis really is. Because, bitch, when it comes down to when you're reconnected to the heaven, bitch, it's going to show voluntarily or involuntarily. Heaven is an actual place inside of you. You're never separated from heaven. Hell is a construct and an understanding of where you perceive your life to be at. Things in life happen for you, not to you. There's no such thing as death because energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred or transformed. There's no such thing as death. Just because that construct or that idea was transformed, that does not mean that the essence was destroyed. That's why I understand about mediums because, bitch, one thing about it, and two things for sure. One thing I do know with the sacred site of revelations that I do have, an ancestor is a Holy Spirit. And it's the only part of, you know, the understanding. that really I get with a whole lot of spiritual communities. But when it comes down to that demon, it's the unhealed shadow wounds that they did not complete when they lived. And so when they passed on, they never reached gnosis. They never had that connection with the Holy Spirit. That is why they linger. Okay. It's because their soul is torn. Thank you, good friend. No, because my vagina is inside of me. It's inside of me, so I don't have that. It's rudimentary, so I don't have cycles like that. When I do have cycles, when I take my hormones, it leaves fluid in my pelvis, so it just reabsorbs into my body. I'm like, and that's another thing. When I found that out, it gave me understanding of why Apollo and Artemis were twins because Apollo was a fucking hermaphrodite. That's why Artemis didn't have a fucking pussy. The hunt, you know, the protector of women, the understanding really dawned on me like, oh, bitch. But if you don't know that you're supposed to apply yourself to both roles inside of every story to reach understanding, you'll never know. Because ego tells you, I want to be good or I want to be the villain, as opposed to understanding people see you as this villain, but you weren't born that villain. Something had to happen. In so many ways or so many words, it's like it's it's the best way that in that time they could try to get their point across. Okay, you have to visualize it and experience it by empathy. That's why if you lack empathy, they say that you don't have a soul because you don't understand the unseen of what is being shown to you because you can't feel it through your Holy Spirit, you know? Oh, this is just a rant live though. I'm just ranting right now. So take what resonates and leave what don't. I don't I don't like operating from the physical. Even though I did it for 30 years, I don't like operating from the physical because when you find heaven, you see how irrelevant a lot of the things that people concern themselves with really is. That is why they would consider a person who reached a certain level of spiritual understanding a demigod because they haven't released their attachment to the physical. And once you do release your attachment to the physical, you have a just mind because you understand humanity. You understand the understanding. So you don't involve yourself no more. Now you are in the realm of the court of the divine. Okay. And there's so much understanding. But right now, the Holy Spirit isn't letting me say it. I'm not really happy about that because some things aren't meant to be said at certain times. But just know people don't like me, especially people who still use tools like sorcerers to achieve their gifts and powers. When I first woke up to my powers, I didn't use nothing. I don't use anything. You know, I'm allowed to because I've mastered my powers, but I never needed them. I don't rely on anything other than my Holy Spirit, my connection. And that's why a lot of people who practice different belief systems don't like me because I prove to them that what they thought or they believed isn't real because I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do it. So if I didn't have to do it, that means that you don't have to do it. You want to do it. And there's no excuse no more. Once someone proves to you that it can be done, unless I'm better than you, and I don't look at things of better or worse. I feels like everybody has their, own journey, but there's only one destination. All roads lead back, you know? That's why, I'm a light bringer. You get it? I tell people there's no such thing as coincidence. My daddy had 11 children. I just thought about this. All of them, well, 11 boys, and then he had me, right? My father. My mama had all girls, and then she had me. The first will be last, and the last will be first. I was the firstborn hermaphrodite that my mama had, and I was the last born child on both sides. Okay, my mama name is Dawn Stewart. Okay, and I am her son basically because I was born with a penis, but I also have a vagina inside of me, and well, the vaginal canal with the ovaries and a rudimentary uterus. So, it is what it is. But it's just the simple fact of I am the son of dawn, literally. So even if a person doesn't believe that I am Jesus when I say I'm Jesus, bitch, I'm still the son of dawn, literally. Like, literally. So, when I was a kid, they used to call me Little Mel, Melchizedek, the eternal priest. Ever since I was a kid, I knew everything I know now, other than the terminologies that motherfuckers came up with. But other than that, you know, my understanding has always been there, you know, and it's like I don't like tooting my own horn. I just know that no one has proven me wrong yet. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. I listen to people who were blind for 30 years until I began to speak up and become the leader that I've always been, the independent soul I've always been, the sovereign soul that I've always been. Okay. And I have yet to be proven wrong. Even when I used to keep my mouth closed and tolerate the bullshit that people used to tell me, I never accepted it as the truth because I could see the truth beneath the lies. I have a Venus in Pisces place, exalted Venus. What's Venus if it's not the planet of love? What's Venus if it's not, the only planet that you can see from Earth that look like a sun? And I also have Pisces conjunct in Saturn with that Venus. And if that's not time, karma mixed with love in alignment with Jupiter in Sagittarius in my first house, I literally have all the proof of who the fuck I say I am in my star system, in my star chart, and in my life, in my experiences, in my stories, I literally prove to people, bitch, I am Jesus Christ, bitch. I came back. Literally, not figuratively, bitch, literally. Everything I knew, bitch, is literally going on right now. Like everything I went through in life literally happened in the Bible of the same stories, of the same different people, different incarnations I've been here. Like it's a loop. I'm always the one doing different shit though, because I come back willingly to just let people know, like, bitch, there's more, because people been losing faith lately. That's why I came back. They've been losing faith and understanding that this is how it works. That's why we're literally in Revelations. It's the truth being revealed all over the place, even science, like with the fucking aliens and stupid shit. You don't gotta like the fact that I'm Jesus. Jesus is everybody. Like I said, I'm not special. I'm just a senior. I am just a graduate. Okay. But everybody is Jesus because Jesus is nothing but J3. I am. Okay. God is everything and all things. But we are his children, meaning that, okay, let me break it down like this. Think about parents. Think about family. Think about God. Think about invisibly without the physical aspects of seeing your mother, seeing your father, seeing your brothers, seeing your sisters. Think about it spiritually. It is literally the same thing, full circle. You're born, you act like your parents, your parents, pass away, but you still act like your parents, right? It's deep. I don't even know what the spirit trying to tell me right now. Because somebody needs to hear this message. Somebody needs to hear this message. I don't toot my own horn just to get attention because I don't give a fuck about attention. I don't care if a bitch like me or not. But just know I am the son of Dawn. My mom's name is Dawn Stewart or whatever like that. And I didn't know my daddy my whole life until I was like in my 20s. And I only saw him one time. The physical one, my physical father. My life story literally is that of Melchizedek and fucking Jesus Christ, bitch. It wasn't until I called judgment, bitch, and started undoing those seals of fucking spiritual currency that revelation started happening. People get started activating. People started openly talking about their motherfucking powers and spirit and all that good shit. You know, mm, I don't even want to keep talking about that no more. I just was offended because she tried my gangster. Don't play with me, bitch. Don't play with me. You getting there, but you not there yet. I need you to put in a little more work. Study to show yourself approval unto God. I need you to put in a little more work while studying to be quiet at the same time. Because bitch, you will not disrespect me like that. Okay? I'm sorry if you feel offended, but bitch, you not gonna play with me. I'm sorry. I say what I say, and I meant it. And if I say anything other than that, I'm a liar, and I don't like to lie. I'm sorry. It's not gonna happen. Bitch, I prove every day, bitch. I let God speak for God's self, bitch. For God's self, bitch. And literally begs me with everything I say. They put. Cause me and the Father is one. Fuck wrong with a hoe. Yeah. I guess that's it for my rant right now. I'm about to go ahead and start watching some movies and talking shit with the Holy Spirit while we talk about my brothers and sisters together. Yeah, because am I my brother's keepers and my sister's keepers? Sure in the fuck is. That's why Cain killed me the first time, bitch, because he wasn't able to reach this point, bitch. That's why Cain keep trying to kill me because he wasn't able. That energy wasn't able to mother bitch, yay. Yay. That's why they keep trying to take me out. Because they're not able to reach gnosis. So for the ones who have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, use them bitches. You got two. Good, evil, good, evil. And then in the middle is truth. Because you find truth in everything. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Take what resonate and leave what don't.